For an untold amount of time, the DC universe lived only in darkness. And then, by complete accident, a blinding light flashed its way across creation. The white light of life was born, fighting against the darkness that once shrouded the universe to create planets and stars across barren, empty space. The life entity created Earth as a shell for itself, and in the process, the emotional spectrum was born from it. The red light of rage, orange light of greed, yellow light of fear, green light of willpower, blue light of hope, indigo light of compassion, and violet light of love were born into the universe. Soon, as life progressed, it became clear that the emotional spectrum could be utilized and manipulated, and then the lantern rings were born. These rings would be sent across the universe, searching for those who felt those emotions more than any other. These ring wielders of all types would finally band together to become the Lantern Corps. So today I want to talk about the 7 Lantern Corps of the emotional spectrum. I think that this is one of the most fascinating parts of the DC universe, and is one of the more engaging lore elements of any sci-fi fantasy world. This is because it can work so well with things and characters even outside of the DC world. How many characters do you know that seem to operate under a lot of anger? It's possible that they conceive a red lantern ring in the future. This type of personality-based power granting means that anyone can receive a lantern ring if they encompass a certain emotion enough. That's why in this video, I will be going over each light on the spectrum and giving qualifications one would need to be able to join any of these cores. That way you can figure out what kind of lantern ring your favorite characters could receive. The first light on the spectrum, and one of the most extreme ones, is the red light of rage. When the first murder occurred on the planet Earth, the entity of rage, the Butcher, was born. The Red Lantern Corps was created by Atrocitus, one of the 5 remaining survivors of the completely massacred Space Sector 666. Atrocitus, using blood magic, created the Red Lantern Rings to seek out those in the universe who feel much rage in their heart, to seek revenge against those he believed had done him wrong, and promised the same retribution to anyone who entered his core. Being on the farthest end of the spectrum, the red light of rage is one of the hardest to control. The Red Lantern Ring permanently stops your heart and replaces it, expelling all of your spoiled blood from your body and instead filling it with the liquid fire of the red light, making you extremely violent, mindless, and consumed with hatred. Though there are ways to keep your intelligence as a Red Lantern, either by bathing in the blood seas of the Red Lantern planet Gizmal, or having experience with the Rage Light previously. Red Lanterns are able to expel napalm blood from their mouths to melt through their enemies, but this manifestation of the red light can also be used to create constructs and force fields. Red Lanterns are also able to infect others with their rage, even being able to convert them into members of their own corps. However, they do have a weakness to the blue light of hope. In order for the Red Lantern Ring to find you, you must have great rage in your heart. But the rage necessary isn't born from things like prejudice, ignorance, or a perceived threat, as those are all just fear in disguise. The rage must come specifically from personal pain and loss, inflicted by someone else. Those whose lives were ravaged by greed, lust, and control feel the rage needed for the ring. Atrocitus felt rage for the Guardians of the Universe, who massacred his family, planet, and entire sector. Vice felt rage for those who have killed his lover, and Bleach felt rage for those who captured, raped, and tortured her along with the people of her planet. One character I think who would be able to qualify for a red ring would be Kratos from God of War, a character who had his whole life ruined by the gods of Olympus, and one who frequently acts on his hate and rage. The next light is the Orange Light of Greed, and the core that belongs to Agent Orange. The Orange Light was born when a creature on Earth first ate what it did not need, and along with it, its entity Ophidian was born. It was first utilized on the planet Okara, when a band of thieves entered the planet and ended up killing each other for the Orange Light when they found it, with the last survivor, Larfleeze, taking ownership of it. Larfleeze is the sole member of the Orange Lantern Corps, but regularly sends out rings to the most greedy individuals in the universe to become owned by him. The Orange Lantern Ring is one of the rings that immediately corrupts your mind, making you incredibly selfish and greedy for everything around you. The Orange Ring is capable of stealing the constructs and power of the other emotional energies. Not only this, but if an Orange Lantern kills you, it can steal your soul and force it to work as a construct for that Orange Lantern. This is how its only lantern, Larfleeze, is an entire corps of lanterns by himself, as he steals the lives of each being that gets a ring. The orange light cannot steal from the blue light of hope or the violet light of love, however, but it can erode the green light of will. In order to receive this ring, one must feel unyielding amounts of greed throughout their life and be subject to an insatiable hunger. This greed seems to be at its most when they see something that others around them want or find valuable. The need to take something from others, even if they don't want it, is an essential feeling for any future Orange Lantern. For example, Glomulus was a cleaner slug, used to clean the leftovers in a restaurant, but once he got a taste of blood, he started eating many people as well. The alien god Bloom was a god of hunger who roamed from world to world demanding that the inhabitants give him every single thing they had of value for him to eat. One planet even offered him their children, and he took them anyway despite not wanting them, because he still only found value in taking what was theirs. This is kind of a cheap answer, but a good example of a character that could have this ring is Gluttony from Fullmetal Alchemist, as he is a literal personification of the greed of his father. Now we move on to the yellow light of fear, wielded by the imposing and terrifying Sinestro Corps. This light was born when creatures began to take to land. The need to survive at all costs created fear, and in turn created the entity Parallax. The first Yellow Lantern ring was created by the former Green Lantern Sinestro, who had it created for him to take advantage of the Green Lantern's then weakness to yellow. Eventually he created the Sinestro Corps, an entire army full of the most terrifying beings in the universe to bring about absolute order. The Yellow Lantern ring, or Cordian Power Ring, requires much more control and focus than some of the previous rings due to its closeness to the center of the spectrum. But those who do wear it feel an increased sense of ruthlessness and fear-mongering tendencies in them, believing that fear is the only way to keep everything in line. They can create constructs, force fields, and fly like a Green Lantern can, but they are also able to force-feed people's greatest fears right to them, making combat a very psychological game for them. To become a part of the Sinestro Corps, one must instill great fear throughout their lives. Terrorizing others, bringing about destruction, or keeping many people in check is a good place to start, and the more people that they are feared by, the more powerful they become. For example, the Sinestro Corps member Crib was a monster who kidnapped children and killed their parents, enslaving the kids and dragging them off to who knows where. Or its titular member Sinestro, who was a Green Lantern before he became a tyrant and subjugated his entire planet so that he can bring about order there. One character I think could receive a Yellow Lantern ring is Voldemort from Harry Potter, as for most of his story, they are afraid to even speak his name and would have rather been in denial about his return. Next is the one that everyone knows, the Green Light of Will, wielded by the Green Lantern Corps. When the first creature in the universe willed itself to move, the Green Light of Will was born, and with it, the entity Ion. The Green Lantern Corps was created by the Guardians of the Universe to police the universe after their last mechanical army, the Manhunters, failed spectacularly. They choose to use the most rational and able to be controlled emotion of willpower so that the Green Lanterns would bring about justice throughout the universe. Green Lanterns are able to summon constructs, force fields, fly, and do many other tasks. Though they do not have any particularly special emotional abilities, Green Lanterns tend to be the most pragmatic and boast a lot of raw power given the circumstances. In addition to that, many Green Lanterns are very adept against mind-based abilities like mind control, as they usually boast enough willpower to be able to break free. To become a part of the Green Lantern Corps, you must first show the ability to overcome great fear. Being a Green Lantern isn't about never feeling insecure, doubt, or anything else, but it's about having the mental fortitude to push past this and do what you believe needs to be done. All of the human Green Lanterns of Earth have encountered terrible personal tragedy, both by themselves and others, but each and every one persevere on because they have the will to carry out their mission. I believe a good contender for the Green Lantern Corps is Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia, as there have been multiple times where even he's almost frozen in fear, but he still goes on and tries to do heroic things. The next is the Blue Light of Hope. When the first creature prayed to the world, the entity Adara was born, and so was hope for the universe. The Blue Lantern Corps was created on the beautiful planet Odin by two former Guardians of the Universe, first choosing the man who seemed to have an unyielding amount of hope for life and prosperity, Saint Walker. With each new Blue Lantern member choosing the next, they believe their duty is to go and help those throughout the universe and help to answer the prayers of those in need. An important distinction to make is that hope embodies the belief that a positive outcome will occur in the future, but will is the emotion that carries this out and makes it happen. Therefore, blue lanterns are most effective and most powerful when there is a green lantern present. They are able to supercharge green rings, counteract the negative effects of other lights like orange, yellow, and red, and they can revive stars. Although blue is one of the most powerful emotions when in the presence of will, they lose most of their power when they are alone. To become eligible for the Blue Lantern Corps, you would need someone with unyielding amounts of optimism for the future. Its leader, St. Walker's planet, was dying, but he always believed that there would be a Messiah who would save it and went on a pilgrimage to find him with his family. Although his family died all around him on the journey and the Messiah turned out to be fake, he never gave up even as he lost everything, granting him the Blue Lantern ring. I believe a good contender for the ring is likely Captain America of the Avengers, as he has always believed that there would be a way to make things right. And now we face the indigo light of compassion, brought about when all the other emotions came to life, and life felt compassion for it all. This resulted in the birth of Ophidian, which would later be found on the planet MNOG. First discovered by the natives there after making weapons with the indigo light, they noticed that enemies cut with these weapons would feel intense amounts of remorse. The Green Lantern Abin Sur knew the War of Light was coming and created the Indigo Tribe with this in mind. A corps of some of the most heinous criminals in the universe, forced to feel unending amounts of compassion as part of their rehabilitation. Indigo Lanterns wield the ability to teleport across the universe, differing from the normal lantern method of traveling by using warp speed. In addition to this, Indigo Lanterns can peer into the emotions of those around them and channel their energy for their own use, allowing them to use the full emotional spectrum, but only one at a time. The more of the emotion present, the more that they would be able to use. Qualifications for the Indigo Lanterns are a little different than most other corps, since many of the members are not compassionate beings at all. Its main member, Indigo 1, used to be Abin Sur's greatest enemy before she was made the leader of the tribe. Although in her case, when the ring was removed, she still begins to feel compassion for all of the harm that she's caused. A better example is Ray Palmer, or the Atom, who during the Blackest Night was granted an indigo ring due to his extremely empathetic and compassionate nature. I believe that a character who would use this ring very well is Shigeo Kageyama of Mob Psycho 100, who spends the entire show finding people and attempting to relate to them on a deep emotional level, and goes to great lengths to try and feel what they feel. Finally, we have the Violet Light of Love and its entity, the Predator. Born when two creatures loved each other for the very first time. Being on the other end of the extreme, the Violet Light has always been unruly and normally manifested as a parasitic gem who would infect beings with power and an obsessive infatuation for the closest person in their life. It was then transformed by the Queens of Zamoran into a ring, creating the Star Sapphires, agents responsible for defending and spreading love throughout the universe. Star Sapphires are capable of doing the normal things that a lantern can, but are also able to trap people in a violet crystal that fills you with the love of the universe. In this crystal, you see and experience what you love most. In addition to this, Star Sapphires can sense where love is throughout the cosmos and tether themselves to that area, teleporting directly there to defend it at all costs. They are also empowered by any love that they find, as even the corpse of a long-dead couple can be used to power their rings and their batteries. Many Star Sapphires are actually made in a more forceful way, since the same violet crystals that they wield can force you to experience all of the love throughout the cosmos and have it flow through your mind, converting you to their cause. However, if the ring chooses you, it will sit and wait for your acceptance. The drawback is that love is such an unruly emotion. Feeling so much can blind someone and make them irrational and controlling if they do not keep the emotion in check. Those who have experienced a severe broken heart are also liable to be accepted by the ring, as the ring will offer them a chance to be whole again. I think a good example of a character who would wield this is Starfire, whose entire race is powered mainly by positive emotions. Starfire specifically feels lots of love for those around her and those special in her life. There are many examples of characters throughout fiction who yield such powerful emotions. It's a shame that they don't get a lantern ring to power themselves up. I hope I've made it clear on exactly what kind of person could qualify for each ring and what kind of power they could get from that. If you have any questions or ideas on who could possibly get what ring, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching.